Part 34. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 331. When Lu Ligan heard the sound of the car horn, he raised his wrist and saw that it was exactly 10 o'clock. He couldn't help but smile. This guy Wu Zayawai was okay. No matter where he was, when he told him what time to pick him up, you will never be late or early, and you will definitely show up at the exact time you said. Yesterday's signing and delivery went smoothly. In the afternoon, Qian Fang took the person in charge of the other party and went to all the places he wanted to go to, confirming that all the procedures were complete. There were 2 places where Boss Guo had to sign, and he asked Boss Guo re-sign the contract. Boss Guo also admired Qian Fang very much. He said that it was a good thing that he had done this once. Otherwise, I had just returned to Taiwan and had to run back to Haikan for these 2 signatures. These 2 signatures are really worth a fortune. In the evening, Lu Ligan invited Boss Guo, the others, and Mr. Han to dinner at Nance Huang Hotel. Of course Meng Ping and Zhang Chen would not attend, but Qian Fang went with Lu Ligan and Huang Jianren. When they went, Qian Fang specially wanted to take Wei Venfang with him. Lu Ligan knew that she wanted to take care of her, and he really needed someone by his side to deal with various departments. After finishing the meal, Lu Ligan felt that there was a female assistant beside him, and there was another advantage. It not only blocked the wine, but also blocked the conversation. After a man drank 3 glasses of wine, he would inevitably become louder when talking, just like Meng Ping. It doesn't matter what you say among friends, but in some situations and in front of some people, going too far is going too far, so you must be careful. Qian Fang sat next to Lu Ligan. When encountering such a situation, she would touch Lu Ligan with her knee under the table, or reach under the table and pat him quietly, which made Lu Ligan not only did he stop talking in time, but he also felt that it was quite sweet. It seemed that there was a secret relationship between himself and Qian Fang. Sometimes, when the other party's words come to Lu Ligan and Lu Ligan is inconvenient or unable to answer them well, Qian Fang will always answer them in time, or divert the words with a smile to avoid embarrassment. After dinner, of course he had to go to the KTV. Lu Ligan deliberately avoided the Daowen Hotel. He felt that it would be a bit embarrassing to be bumped into by Wen Wen and Qian at this time, so they went to the Palma d'Or. When they left Nance Huang, Cao Ziahe was already waiting for them downstairs. Boss Guo and Mr. Han took Wu Zayawai's car. Lu Ligan and Qian Fang, 4 of them, took Cao Ziahe's car. They got in. Qian Fang I touched Huang Jianren affectionately, smiled and said to him, "Mr. Huang, why don't you live up to your reputation?" "Why am I not worthy of my name?" Huang Jianren asked doubtfully. "Your name is Bitch, why are you not Bitch at all?" Qian Fang said, and everyone in the car laughed. Huang Jianren quickly defended, "Am I mistaken? I am a benevolent person who is benevolent, righteous, propriety, wise and trustworthy, and a constructive person. What's the use of Jianren in Haikan? You still want to build a country of etiquette? I tell you, Mr. Huang, only bitches can do it, and bitches are weapons." Qian Fang chuckled. Lu Ligan was also happy. He said, "I didn't expect that such a mean word would be said by you, like 5 lectures and 4 beauties. Of course. Especially when socializing, if you are so serious, you will reject people thousands of miles away. It doesn't matter how many times you invite them to dinner. People will think that eating with you is a punishment. It's better not to eat. What they want to do is it's time to relax after get off work, why bother with this again? Mr. Huang, you are in charge of the finances, do you think this is a waste?" "It seems to make sense," Lu Ligan said. "On the other hand, if you are a little bit mean, moderately mean, it is not mean. In fact, both men and women hate mean people. If you are a bit mean, you can bring people closer, and they will be very willing to associate with you. This one meal has the effect of 3 meals for others, Mr. Huang, do you think it is a good deal? Huang Jianren felt that although Qianfang's words were talking about himself, they sounded very fresh. Qianfang's tone did not have the aggressive feeling of a beautiful woman when she accuses others. Instead, it made people feel very considerate and that she was true. While communicating with you, Huang Jianren nodded and said, "Okay, what I didn't learn in college, I learned from you." Qianfang clapped his hand and praised, "By the way, your tone of voice is a bit mean." The people in the car laughed, and Cao Ziahe said, "Qianfang's words still make sense. Our Lao Meng is a master of being mean. He himself said he was a bitch. Really, when I see other people, I am very willing to deal with him. He invite others to a meal, and after finishing the meal, others seem eager to treat him right back." "Awesome," Lu Ligan shouted. When Lu Ligan said this, he felt that Cao Ziahe summed it up well. Meng Ping seemed to have such a talent that he would make people fall in love with him at first sight. He would only be willing to meet him for the first time. Not only did he not make money from him, and even took the initiative to take him to the East Lake recruitment wall to recruit people. "Then should I be a bit meaner, Teacher Qian?" Huang Jianren asked Qianfang. "That's necessary," Qianfang said, "especially for partners like you. If you go out with Mr. Lu, the boss can't be cheap. As the deputy, you should also be cheap. If you are too cheap, then it doesn't matter, there is Mr. Lu behind, he can clean up the mess. On the contrary, if Mr. Lu goes too far, there will be no one to smooth things over, right?" "Yes, that makes sense. From today on, you can change your name to Huang Bitch. Anyway, I have already called you that," Lu Ligan and Huang Jianren said. Qianfang touched Huang Jianren's shoulder with her shoulder and encouraged him, "It's okay. You have this potential. I can see it. Throw away all the constraints in your heart. Don't do the same thing as in Beijing. You have to worry about what the leader will think. Here, the leader won't think about anything. He will only watch and see what results you can bring to him. Am I right, Mr. Lu?" "Yes, you are absolutely right," Lu Ligan said. In the following night, both Lu Ligan and Huang Jianren remembered Qianfang's words. Lu Ligan no longer performed his hey 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 so cheaply. On the contrary, Huang Jianren seemed to have really released himself and kept looking for customers. Cheers, kept teasing with the beauties, and pushed them into the guests' arms. The guests were of course very happy. Huang Jianren also held the microphone from time to time, singing. He sang really well, dancing, and even jumped on the glass coffee table to sing. While singing, he also made some obscure movements to rub the edges, which made everyone laugh. You have to lean forward and close back. This night, everyone had a great time. Even Mr. Han pulled off his tie, put it around the little girl's neck, and danced side by side. After that, they continued to have a midnight snack at the Lion House. Huang Jianren was also full of witty words. Lu Ligan couldn't help but want to laugh as he watched from the side. He thought that tonight, Huang Jianren was really completely released. He looked at Qianfang, and Qianfang also he was smiling secretly, as if looking at one of his own works. When they broke up, Boss Guo shook hands and hugged Lu Ligan and Huang Jianren enthusiastically, as if they were good brothers. He invited them to visit Taiwan if they had a chance. Everyone went. When they get to Taishung, I will be the host and I will be the host. I will let you have fun. Cao Ziahe saw Boss Guo and Mr. Han off. Lu Ligan, Qianfang, and the others stood beside Wu Kaowai's car, not in a hurry to get in. Wu Zhaowai looked at Huang Jianren and wondered. He didn't know what happened in Cao Ziahe's car. He looked at Huang Jianren and then at the other people, thinking, what happened to this Diomao today? He has been playing tricks all night, so happy, won the Mark 6 lottery. Getting ready to get in the car, Qianfang asked Huang Jianren, "Are you happy driving today?" Huang Jianren said, "Happy. Are you happy?" Happiness. That's right, remember, only if you are happy, others will be happy, and if you are happy, others will be happy. I remember, Teacher Qian, Huang Jianren said with a smile. "No, I must hug Teacher Qian." Qianfang looked disgusted. She looked at herself, then at Huang Jianren, and cursed, "It's all stinky sweat, why should I hug you?" Lu Ligan stood aside and smiled, "Teacher Qian, you must also remember that only if you are happy, others will be happy, and if you are happy, others will be happy. If you want to make a bitch happy, you should give him a hug." Everyone laughed, and Qianfang said generously, "Okay, let's hug." She and Huang Jianren hugged. Wu Zaiwai shouted from the side, "Is it my turn?" "Get lost," Qianfang cursed, "do you want to eat my tofu?" Everyone laughed again. Lu Ligan finished washing and went downstairs. He walked to Wu Zaiwai and knocked on the glass. Wu Zaiwai rolled down the window and asked, "What are you doing?" "Get off the car and get off. The car is parked here. Let's go to the street behind and have a bowl of very spicy noodle soup. I drank too much yesterday and I have a headache. I need to sweat a little. Then I'll wait for you here," Wu Zaiwai said. Lu Ligan scolded, "Why are you so humming verbose?" Okay, I'll get off here," Wu Zaiwai muttered. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 332. After eating the noodle soup and 2 eggs, he was sweating profusely. Lu Ligan felt refreshed. They walked back to the door of Yilan's house and got in the car. Lu Ligan and Wu Zaiwai said, "Let's go there first, let's take a look at the land." As soon as the car drove out, Lu Ligan remembered. He picked up his mobile phone and grabbed Zhang Chen. After a while, Zhang Chen called back. Lu Ligan said to him, "I'll pick you up now. Go to my place, let's take a look at the land." You," Zhang Chen scolded, "tell me where you are at the China World Trade Center and I'll go there on a motorcycle." Lu Ligan told Zhang Chen how to walk from Haixiu Road to Nandakiao. The land is not far from Longji Building, just on Kuomao Road. Directly opposite is the People's Insurance Company of China, and diagonally opposite is the Bank of Communications Hainan branch under construction. From there, walk towards Longkan North Road, just a few dozen meters away. China Construction Bank Provincial Branch Building. Lu Ligan originally took a fancy to this place because he felt that this place would be a gathering place for financial institutions in the future, which would fit perfectly with their positioning as the Jinghai International Financial Center. When Lu Ligan and the others arrived, Zhang Chen had already arrived. He parked his motorcycle in front of a billboard of Carey International Center and was leaning on the motorcycle while smoking. This Carey International Center is the original project of Boskuo. It is a very majestic twin tower. The spears on the top of the building reach straight into the sky. It is a pity that even the lush grass on the ground has not been removed. This Carey Center, he went to Yongxiao by himself. Now this is Lu Ligan's territory, and the tallest building in Haikan will rise here. Wu Zaiwai drove the car directly towards Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen stood there without moving. He watched the car slowly stop in front of him, and the front of the car almost brushed his knees. Wu Zaiwai opened the car door and got out of the car with a smile, and said to Zhang Chen, "It's awesome, Mr. Zhang. He can stand up to the top of Mount Tai without bending down. He won't walk away even if he says he won't." Zhang Chen smiled and said, "If you can suppress me with this, then you must have bought your driver's license for 20 yuan each." Lu Ligan got out of the car. Zhang Chen pointed to the billboard behind him and asked, "Is this piece of land?" "What a waste of land," Lu Ligan scolded. "If you don't respect me or this land, you should respect more than 18 million, which was paid in real money. Beside our factory, there is a larger piece of land than this." "It is a mountain of garbage," Wu Zaiwai said from the side, and Zhang Chen laughed. Lu Ligan scolded, "You rip-off guy, this is Haikan, where is your factory?" "It's by the Fukun River, a place where birds don't poop. Apart from this billboard, there is nothing on this piece of land, not even a fence. The other plots on the side use fences and walls of different heights and materials to exclude the parts that do not belong to you. In this way, first, the scope of this land was separated by them." Lu Ligan thought to himself that Boss Guo probably didn't have much money in his pocket after buying the land, otherwise he wouldn't have failed to do such a basic action. At that time, the government handed over the land to them, and the 3 roads and 1 leveling had been completed. However, due to the passage of time, weeds more than 1 meter high have grown on this vacant land, a patch of green. In the middle of this green, close to there was a low shed in the center of the plot. Zhang Chen pointed to the shed and Lu Lepole and said, "What is that? Come, go and have a look. I have already been there. The wasteland has been here for too long. A dozen blind people who came from nowhere have set up sheds to raise chickens here. Do you want to eat chickens? If you want to eat chickens, let's go over and buy 2." Lu Ligan smiled. "Buy it and put it in a hot water bottle to stew," Zhang Chen scolded. "If this place remains deserted for another year, I think it will be almost as good as the vacant land next to our factory." Wu Zaiyi pointed to a few tens of meters away, where someone had dumped several trucks of construction waste and piled it into a hill. Some of the rubbish looked old, and some were still new. This piece of land, because it is in the urban area and has been leveled, seems to be vast as far as the eye can see. It is 52 acres, and it feels as big as their land of more than 300 acres on Lonkan South Road. Lu Ligan stood there with his hands on his hips and looked around. The wind blew the endless grass up and down. Lu Ligan felt proud in his heart. He felt like a king patrolling his territory. Lu Ligan asked Zhang Chen, "Do you have any workers there?" "What?" Zhang Chen asked. "I want to build the wall here first and remove the grass inside. Also, please help me redesign this billboard. Goodbye, Cary International Center. This is Jinghai International Financial Center." Lu Ligan continued, "Now the government is staring at the International Trade Center very hard. Next, I have to go through various approval and construction procedures. I just want to change this place first, and then I will ask the newspaper friends from the TV station can help us, create some sensation, and tell everyone that we are going to start the development of Kuomao first, so as to attract the attention of various departments." "You want to do twice the result with half the effort again?" Zhang Chen asked. "Yes, I have thought about it. There are 2 ways to deal with government departments. One is like Meng Ping, who fights for feelings and friendship, and the other is to use your own efforts and strength to arouse their attention. Pay attention, they also want political achievements, and if I can help them achieve political achievements, they will definitely add to the cake and give me the green light to go all the way, which does not mean that there is only one way for Meng Ping." Zhang Chen nodded. He felt that what Lu Ligan said made sense. For the Haikan city government, including leaders at all levels, starting such a large project in the International Trade Center would have a stimulating effect and solve their problems. Heart disease, this may be of more practical significance to them than inviting them to a meal. Next week, the masonry department will be vacant. They won't look for new jobs at all. Cao Kuoking can arrange for them to work here as day laborers. They will also increase their income. Zhang Chen and Lu Lizhu said, "This, let me help you design it first." Zhang Chen said, pointing to the billboard. Lu Ligan said, "Okay, anyway, now, as long as the painting is impressive, it is not a formal design draft." The 3 of them stood there, smoked another cigarette, and then prepared to go back. Zhang Chen was still riding his motorcycle, and Lu Ligan was about to get on the car. Wu Zaiyi called, "Wait a minute, let me go pee." Lu Ligan scolded, "Damn it, you're so small, can't you go back to the company and try again?" Wu Zaiyi ignored him and ran behind the billboard. Zhang Chen laughed loudly, stepped on the accelerator and left with a bang. Wu Zaiyi drove the car to the company. He asked Lu Ligan, "Mr. Lu, how many floors should we build here? I heard from Xiao Wei and others that we want to build the tallest building in Haikan. Is it true?" "Yes, 41. That's higher than Hangcheng Tower. Hangcheng Tower is only 32 floors. Haha, I can brag when I go back." Wu Zaiyi smiled happily, and Lu Ligan was also very happy to hear it. Yes, he remembered that when he was in Yongcheng, for them, Hangcheng building was such an unreachable place. It was rare to go to Hangzhou. Not to mention staying and eating in the hotel in Hangcheng Tower, even going to the Hangcheng Tower shopping mall to buy something, and returning to Yongcheng is an experience worth showing off. He didn't expect that the house he was going to build would make Hangcheng building look like a little brother compared to it. Lu Ligan thought to himself, when he returns to Yongcheng, wouldn't this be his bragging rights? "Mr. Lu, what would happen if someone jumped from the 41st floor?" Wu Zaiyi asked for no reason. Lu Ligan was puzzled by his question, and became angry for no reason. He cursed, "Damn you, when we finish building it, I invite you to try it. You will know after you try it." Wu Kai said earnestly, "I won't jump, only a fool would jump off a building." After a while, Wu Zaiyi asked again, "Mr. Lu, tell me, why do billionaires think so hard that they want to commit suicide by jumping off a building? Don't talk about billions, give me 100,000 and I'll go crazy with joy." "Where? Willing to die? What the hell are you thinking about in your head? Do you have a fever?" No, I just don't think it's worth it. I'm so rich, but I still can't think about it." Wu Zaiyi shook his head as he spoke. Lu Ligan was confused by what he said and asked, "Who is so rich? You don't read newspapers." Lu Ligan scolded, "In Haikan, who would read the newspaper if they don't have a bad thing? That's me. Apart from driving, I have nothing to do. I just like reading newspapers." Lu Ligan became suspicious and asked, "Where did you say the billionaire committed suicide by jumping off a building?" "Haikan." "Haikan?" "Yes, the Haikan Evening News published it yesterday, saying that a billionaire committed suicide by jumping off a building." Lu Ligan's heart trembled, and he suddenly had an ominous premonition. He asked urgently, "Tell me more details, where is he, and who is he? I forgot your last name. Did you know that the boss of the building on Changde Road, Jingfa Building, jumped off the roof?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 333. They hurried back to the company. Lu Ligan almost dragged Wu Zaiyi upstairs. As soon as he entered the company door, he shouted, "Hurry up and get me the newspaper you mentioned." Wu Zaiyi ran back to his desk, opened the drawer, took out yesterday's Haikan Evening News from the drawer, turned to page 4, and pointed it to Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan glanced at it, his face changed suddenly, he grabbed the newspaper, turned around and walked towards his office. Wu Zaiyi, who didn't know what happened, followed behind him. He followed him to the door and wanted to follow him in, but Lu Ligan casually followed him. He swung the glass door shut and almost hit Wu Zaiyi's nose. Wu Zaiyi reached out and knocked on the door. Lu Ligan yelled at the door, "Get out!" Then the blinds on the glass snapped shut. Wu Zaiyi opened his mouth toward Lu Ligan's office, cursed silently, and then walked away angrily. Lu Ligan walked to the sofa and sat down, reading the newspaper in his hand. This brief message was published on the 4th page of Social Vientiane. It was very short. It was said to be from an invisible billionaire in the city, from a large group. The boss, Huang XX, committed suicide by jumping off the Jingfa building this morning and died from his injuries. Lu Ligan looked at the reporter who wrote this news. He knew him. He had taken this reporter to write soft advertisements for his clients before. Lu Ligan quickly walked to the executive desk, opened the drawer, took out his address book from it, flipped to the phone number of the reporter's office, and called him. It happened to be the reporter himself. Lu Ligan asked him, "Was the person you posted yesterday about committing suicide by jumping off a building, Huang Hongguang?" The other party said yes. "Do you know him?" "Yes, I met him once." "By the way, do you know why he committed suicide?" "There are different opinions on the reasons now, and no one can say clearly. However, the conclusion of suicide has been determined, otherwise I would not report it." Putting down the phone, Lu Ligan felt a chill on his back. In front of him, the clear-eyed middle-aged man with sharp eyes appeared again. Although they had only met once, Lu Ligan shook his head. Impossible, he thought, someone with such a boss-like gaze. You say he can do anything, kill people, die with others, but he just can't commit suicide. What's more, he also told Huang Mei that his matter would be resolved soon and their family could be reunited again. He was still waiting for them to come back, which made it even more impossible to commit suicide at this time. Or maybe he had anticipated the final outcome. He said that the matter would be resolved soon to comfort them. He knew that the matter could not be resolved and only his own death could bring an end to it all. But if so, he wanted more to explain the funeral arrangements to them than to prepare them to come back. Lu Ligan felt that this matter was too strange, but he had no time to think about it. What he was more worried about was how painful it would be for Huang Mei to know the news, and her aunts. They were full of expectations, but they didn't expect that it would be a disaster. Separated. I don't know if Huang Mei already knows the news. Tomorrow will be the day when he and Huang Mei will talk. Lu Ligan thought to himself, how should he comfort Huang Mei? But any words and comfort are feeble. Lu Lizan hopes that he is by her side now, holding her and accompanying her. Lu Ligan didn't know how he spent his day. He didn't go anywhere the whole day, just sat blankly in his office. Even lunch and dinner were bought for him by Wei Wenfang. Other people in the company didn't know what was going on. 4 people gathered on the sofa in the rest area. Huang Jianren asked Wu Ziyawai, "What happened to Mr. Lu today?" Wu Ziyawai said, "How do I know? It was fine when we went to see the land in the morning. When we came back, I told him about the billionaire who committed suicide by jumping off the building yesterday. That was it. Billionaires committed suicide. It's none of his business, he's not a billionaire yet." "What kind of billionaire committed suicide by jumping off a building?" Chen Ji asked. "You don't read newspapers?" Wu Ziyawai asked curiously. Huang Jianren, Chen Ji, and Wei Wenfang all shook their heads. Wu Ziyawai smiled and said, "Haha, it turns out that I am the only one reading the company's newspaper. It turns out that I am in the factory and everyone grabs the newspaper as soon as it comes. If you don't read it, why should you order it?" "Ah. That was issued by the propaganda department of the municipal party committee, stipulating that it must be ordered, otherwise who would order it?" Huang Jianren said. "By the way, what did the newspaper say?" Wei Wenfang asked Wu Ziyawai. "The newspaper is at Mr. Liu's place. You can just go and read it," Wu Ziyawai said. Wei Wenfang quickly shook her head, "I don't dare to go." Chen Ji and Huang Jianren said, "Mr. Huang, you are the vice president, go and get it." Huang Jianren shouted, "I am the vice president, I should be the one who ordered you to get it." "I don't dare to go either." Chen Ji smiled and said, "Xiao Wu, since you have a good relationship with Mr. Lu, it's better for you to go." Wu Ziyawai opened his eyes wide and shook his head like a rattle, "I'm not going. I've already been asked to roll over once. If I go again, I will be kicked to death here." "Kick this place to death? Are you from Hainan?" Huang Jianren laughed. He took out a $10 bill and said to them, "There is a newsstand downstairs. I will pay for it, who will buy it?" Wu Kai snatched the money away. "I'll go, there's nothing left to look for." Wu Zai came back from buying a newspaper. The four of them gathered around the coffee table and read the text message. After reading it for a long time, they didn't see anything interesting. Huang Jianren said that the boss of a large group jumped down from the Jingfa building. That was the Jingfa building. "We are the boss of Jingfa Group, but we have nothing to do with Jingfa Group. Do you know what the relationship is?" Chen Ji scolded. "You don't even know, how could we know?" "I know," Wei Venfang shouted. She ran back to her desk, opened a drawer, and came back with a notebook. She kept flipping through it until she reached a page. She put the notebook on the coffee table and pointed it out to them. "Look, did you see it? How do you say it doesn't matter?" The three people saw that this was the list of congratulatory guests when their company opened. The place Wei Venfang pointed at was Huang Mali of the Economic Development Group. "I was flipping through this book that day and saw that this name was very special, so I remembered it," Wei Venfang said. "However, I was there on the opening day, and later at Nance Huang, I also toasted to all the guests on behalf of the company. I don't remember Huang Mali from Jingfa Group. By the way, I also exchanged business cards with them," Huang Jianren said and went back to his office. The other three people followed him. Huang Jianren took out all the business cards of the guests that day. The four of them rummaged through them, but they didn't see Huang Mali or anyone else from the Jingfa Group. "But I remember it right here, and I also sent a flower basket," Wei Venfang said. "What do you think is the relationship between this Huang Mali and that Huang XX?" Chen Ji asked. "Both names are Huang, could she be his daughter? By the way, I know, Mr. Lu has an affair with Huang Mali," Wu Zai called. "Get out," Wei Venfang scolded. "If Mr. Lu has a relationship with this pornographic daughter, and such a big thing happens, will Mr. Lu still be able to sit in the office? Do you think Mr. Lu is such an inhumane person?" "Yeah, I don't think so," Chen Ji also said. "If it were, Mr. Lu would go there as soon as possible." "Have you sent Mr. Lu to Jingfa Group?" Wu Zai shook his head. He thought, "Go to hell if you don't even know." Lu Ligan stayed in the office until about 6 o'clock. Wei Venfang helped him buy food from the canteen below and delivered it to the office. Lu Ligan looked at the food in front of him and said, "Didn't you just eat it? Why do you want it again? Have eaten." Wei Venfang said, "That was lunch and now it's dinner." Lu Ligan finally woke up. He looked out the window and asked, "Is it so late?" "Yes, it's past 6 o'clock." Wei Venfang hesitated for a while and asked, "Mr. Lu, are you okay?" Lu Ligan looked at her and said it was okay. "You've been in the office all day." "Oh, I'm thinking about something," Lu Ligan said. "By the way, it's time for you to get off work. Help me find Wu Zai." I'm here," Wu Zai had been standing outside the door after Wei Venfang came in. He hurried in when Lu Ligan said he was looking for him. "Send me home, and by the way, pack the food for me and I'll take it home to eat," Lu Ligan and Wu Zai said. Lying on the bed, staring blankly at the ceiling above his head, Lu Ligan fell asleep unconsciously until he saw the light in the room gradually dimming. When he woke up, the room was dark, and he could hear the ghost singing in the distance. Lu Ligan wanted to get up to clean him up, but he was too lazy to get up. After his eyes gradually adapted to the darkness in the room, he still stared at the top of his head. "I looked at the ceiling, and all I saw was that pale face." Lu Ligan fell asleep again. When he woke up, he looked at his watch and saw that it was already past 2 o'clock. He stood up, turned on the light, and felt very hungry, so he ate the cold rice and vegetables on the table. "Now, look at the time, it's almost 3 o'clock, Wenwen and Qian should be back soon." Lu Li put his bag on his back and walked out. He was not even interested in talking to anyone now, except Huang Mei. When he reached Binhai Avenue, Lu Ligan didn't stop to take a taxi. It was still early, so he decided to walk to the company. He remembered that on the morning of Huang Mei's departure, he walked all the way from Haidian Island to Wanghai Tower. When Lu Ligan was walking on the road, the moon shook the coconut leaves all the way on him, and in front of and behind him, he would wonder if Huang Mei was walking on the streets of Seattle at this time, and the sun was shaking all the way to Europe. The shadow of the horse chestnut tree fell on her body. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 334. Lu Ligan walked for more than an hour and arrived at Longja Building. He opened the door and entered the company. Still without turning on the lights, he walked through the large office area outside and entered his office with the light coming from the window. He closed the door and turned on the blinds facing the hall outside were closed, but the curtains of the window near Lonkin North Road were not drawn. The light coming in from the window was very complicated, including moonlight, street lights, and neon lights on the building across the road. After Lu Ligan sat down, he also saw a red light reflected on the tabletop of his executive desk. Ming Ming, that's the aviation obstruction light on top of the building opposite. Haikan Airport is located in the urban area, and the urban area is densely populated with high-rise buildings. It is very difficult for aircraft to take off and land. The roofs of all high-rise buildings above 30 stories in Haikan are equipped with such aviation obstruction lights to remind those taking off and landing at night. Attention pilots! Lu Ligan was sitting there, and the bright light from the window behind him cast his shadow onto the executive desk in front of him. He pulled the phone in front of him, and the phone was buried in his figure. Lu Ligan sat there motionless. He felt like a hen, hatching on the telephone. He would slowly hatch it and the phone would ring as promised. Seeing that it was almost 5 o'clock, Lu Ligan subconsciously sat up straight. When he sat up straight, the shadow on the table shrank, but the phone was still in his shadow. Lu Ligan took off his watch, used the strap as a stand, and stood next to the phone. The luminous second hand was circling urgently, the luminous minute hand was unhurried and orderly, and the luminous hour hand was still there for a long time. It only moved a little bit, but that's it, it was already 5 o'clock. Lu Ligan stared at the minute hand and reached the 12 position step by step, and his heart was in his throat. But the phone did not ring as promised. The phone in the dark was silent, as if it wanted to shrink its figure smaller and smaller. It was best that Lu Ligan couldn't see it. The watch that Lu Ligan was staring at became louder and louder, and Lu Ligan felt that his ears were filled with their sonorous sounds. Step by step, the minute hand tilted to the position representing 5, but the phone did not ring. The minute hand has reached the 10 position, and the phone has not yet rang. The minute hand went like this, step by step, clang clang, clang clang, the phone never rang. Lu Ligan felt that his heart was getting heavier and heavier, so heavy that his sitting body could hardly support it and was about to collapse. Finally, the hour and minute hands formed a vertical straight line, and it was already 6 o'clock. Unknowingly, the phone was no longer immersed in his figure. Unknowingly, his figure became very light. That was the room. The whole room became brighter, and the sky outside the window was already bright. Lu Ligan's eyes were no longer staring at the watch at this time, but at the phone. The phone was lying there quietly, stable. Lu Ligan wanted to beat it. I waited like this, why the hell did you refuse to ring? But the phone looked rigid and innocent, unaware of Lu Ligan's anger. Lu Ligan was shocked. Could the phone be broken? He quickly picked up the phone and heard a steady beeping sound. Lu Ligan quickly put the phone down. He was worried that at the moment he picked up the phone, Huang Mei's call would not come in. As time went by, Lu Ligan became more and more restless and suspicious. He wondered if it was because he was too close to the phone, so it just didn't ring. Just like a taxi on the road, when you wait for it, They never come. When you don't need them, they drive past you one by one with their empty lights on. Lu Ligan stood up, walked to the sofa and sat down, but still looked at the phone on the table, which still didn't ring. Lu Ligan walked to the window, looked at the road below, and then looked back at the phone on the table. The phone was still silent. But time passed like this: 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 past 8, 20, 30. At 8:40, the phone suddenly rang loudly. Lu Ligan was standing in front of the cabinet at that time, staring at a coconut inside with a desperate mood. There was a set of numbers engraved on the coconut, representing a date. The marks carved by the knife were green at first, but now they have turned rusty red. This was the only coconut left by Lu Ligan among the large pile of coconuts. The date engraved on it was his last thought for Tan Shahen. From that day on, they no longer had any contact. Tan Shahen had already she became someone else's woman. In fact, she had become someone else's woman a long time ago, and Lu Ligan only knew it today. The ringing sounded loudly, and Lu Ligan rushed to the executive desk like a hungry tiger. He grabbed the phone on the desk and called, "Hey, beautiful. Hello, may I ask if your company needs to advertise for recruitment?" On the phone, a passionate voice interrupted him, and Lu Ligan got angry for no reason and cursed, you." He slammed the microphone down hard. The microphone bounced on the base before going silent. After a while, the phone rang again. Lu Ligan picked up the phone and it was still the same voice, "Sir, why are you swearing? You. You. Get the hell out of here. I'm just scolding you." "Which newspaper are you from?" Lu Ligan then reported a list of the names of the advertising directors of these newspapers, and finally concluded, "Tell me which newspaper company it is from. If you dare to call me again, I will definitely tell you to get out. Do you believe it?" There was silence on the other end of the phone. Lu Ligan threw the phone away and the phone didn't ring again. Sitting down in the silence and looking at the equally silent phone on the table from a distance, Lu Ligan felt a little regretful. He thought, no matter whose phone it was, at least the ringtone could bring a moment of hope, which was better than this deathly silence. Lu Ligan sighed heavily. Throughout the next day, Lu Ligan would stay on the phone in the office whenever he had time. When any unrelated calls came in, he would always use the simplest words such as no, no, and thank you to greet the other person. Sent away. Qian Fang called and told him about the deed tax and stamp duty. Without saying a few words, Lu Ligan told her to hang up the phone and call my eldest brother. "What the hell?" Qian Fang wondered. Lu Ligan laughed and hung up the phone. After a while, his big brother rang. Qian Fang asked him, "Have you left the company?" "No, still in the office," Lu Ligan said. "What the hell?" Qian Fang continued to wonder. After she finished talking to Lu Ligan, she said to him, "I'm afraid you'll leave the company. Now bring your official seal and ID card to the Longhua branch. You'll be asked to sign in person." Lu Ligan said yes. He called Wei Venfang and told her, "Just stay in my office. Remember, don't leave even a step. Do you understand? Answer the phone for me. If a call comes, just ask her if she is looking for Lao Ma. If she says she's looking for Lao Ma, tell her my mobile phone number and ask her to call my mobile phone number. Do you understand?" "Understood. When someone calls, I will ask him if he knows Lao Ma. If he knows Lao Ma, give him your phone number and ask him to call you, right, Mr. Lu?" Wei Venfang asked. "Yes, that's it." Lu Ligan walked to the door and warned again, "Remember, stay well and don't leave even a step before I come back." Wei Venfang blushed and said, "What if I need to go to the bathroom? Her aunt is here today and she must ask this question." Lu Ligan originally wanted to hold it in, but when the words came to his lips, he changed to running back and forth. Wei Venfang said, "Oh." Lu Ligan came back from Longhua taxation branch and entered the office. When he saw Wei Venfang sitting in his executive chair, Lu Ligan breathed a sigh of relief. "Do you have a phone number?" Lu Ligan asked quickly. There were 6 or 7 phone calls, and only one knew Lao Ma, but what? I told him your big brother's number, but before I finished, he said, I know, I'm too lazy to call, and asked him to come back and answer my call." "Who is it?" Lu Ligan asked curiously, actually knowing Lao Ma. "Boss Zhang." Lu Ligan almost blurted out, "Are you a ding? Zhang Chen still wants you to tell him my big brother's number?" Lu Lizan held back the scolding and said, "Okay, I understand, you can go." Lu Ligan picked up the mobile phone on the table and dialed the number in Zhang Chen's office. As soon as the call came through, Zhang Chen called on the phone, "Hey, Lao Ma is back." Lu Ligan smiled and asked, "What do you want from me?" "A few masonry classes will finish tomorrow, and there will be time the day after tomorrow. You'd better take the time to come over, tell Cao Kuoking what kind of work you have to do there, and let him help you organize people." "Okay, I got it. I'll probably write it down today and go find him tomorrow." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 335. In the evening, Zhang Chen called Lu Ligan and asked him if he wanted to have dinner together. Lu Ligan couldn't say anything. "I'm a little tired today. I want to go home and take a rest." Of course he was tired. He had been in a state of high tension since he left home at around 2 o'clock in the morning. Even if he was made of iron, he would be in danger of breaking. Lu Ligan asked Wu Zayawai to take him home. When he got downstairs, he changed his mind and told Wu Zayawai, "Wait for me for a while, I will come down soon." He went upstairs to get a change of clothes and came back, and told Wu Zayawai to take me back to the company. When Wu Zayawai was about to say something, Lu Ligan said, "Shut up." Wu Zayawai could only shut up. When Lu Ligan saw the sunset on the top of the coconut trees outside, he thought that the next whole night in Haikan would be the daytime in Seattle. Would Huang Meili call him with the idea of giving it a try? He decided to go back to the office to keep watch. He also thought about whether there might be a difference between his and Huang Meili's understanding. He understood that 3 days from now was today on the 3rd day, while Huang Meili thought that it was 3 days from now. On the 4th day, that is, at 5 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, it will be the time for her to talk to herself on the phone. This must be the case, Lu Ligan thought. Even if Huang Meili knew about her father, she would still call her to find out more about the situation. At this time, they would call anyone at the Jingfa group, or themselves. Relatives are all inappropriate, but it is most appropriate to let yourself get to know them. After all, to others, he has no relationship with either Huang Hongguang or Jingfa group. Huang Meili also knows that as long as she agrees, he will definitely use all his relationships to delve into the truth of the matter. Lu Ligan has determined that he will definitely receive a call from Huang Meili by 5 o'clock tomorrow morning at the latest. Wu Kai drove the car to the downstairs of Longja building. When he saw Lu Ligan getting out of the car, he asked, "You don't want to eat?" Lu Li was stunned for a moment and said to him, "Go and buy me half a caddy of barbecued pork, half a wenchang chicken, and half a caddy of duck intestines." After Lu Ligan got out of the car, Wu Zayawai drove to a barbecue restaurant on Longhua Road that Lu Ligan liked to eat. He bought half a caddy of barbecued pork, half a caddy of duck intestines, and half a wenchang chicken. He took a look. The braised beef was good, so I bought another piece of beef and asked the store to cut it all up. Then I ordered 2 portions of rice. After thinking about it, I ordered 2 bottles of wine. Wu Zayawai took these into Lu Ligan's office and put them on the coffee table. He wanted to say something, but Lu Ligan said again, "Shut up, turn around, and go home." Wu Zayawai said "Oh," and within a few steps of walking out, he heard the sound of the door closing behind him. Wu Zayawai turned to look behind him and muttered, "If you keep going like this, You're going to lose your nerve. It's not me who will jump off the building, but you who will jump on your own. The elevator went down and stopped at Chen Qiang's floor. The elevator door opened and Chen Qiang walked in. Seeing Wu Zaiyi, Chen Qifan said, "Master Wu, are you so late? Where is Mr. Lu?" Wu Zaiyi originally wanted to say that he was upstairs, but his thoughts turned around and he swallowed the words back. He thought that if he said that Lu Ligan was still upstairs, then Chen Qiang might go upstairs, and Lu Ligan would definitely be surprised and ask him how did he know that he was still in the office. Chen Qiang told him that it was me who said it, so damn, he didn't know how many times he would be kicked out again. It is better to do less than to do more. Wu Zaiyi said, "I will come back to get something. Mr. Lu, I have sent it home." Chen Qiang nodded, and Wu Zaiyi secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Lu Ligan used his hands to explore the bags of roasted meat. They were still warm. He saw that in addition to rice, there were 2 bottles of small aphrodisiacs in one of the bags. Lu Ligan grinned and cursed. "You're so damn considerate." After finishing his meal, Lu Ligan got up and went to the bathroom to take a shower. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to hear the call, so he deliberately left the bathroom door open. After taking a shower and changing clothes, he finally felt tired after 2 days of nervousness. He moved the phone from the table to the coffee table so that even if he fell asleep, he could still hear the phone ringing. There was no alarm clock in the office. He was afraid that he would oversleep, so he wanted to call Wei Wenfang and ask her to wake him up at 4:30. He also thought that it would be outrageous to ask a little girl to go out to find a public phone at 4:30 in the morning. He still called Huang Jianren's eldest brother and asked him if there was an alarm clock in the room. Huang Jianren said yes. "Set the alarm clock to 4:30, and call me at 4:30. You must call until I answer," Lu Ligan and Huang Jianren said. Huang Jianren said yes, and he asked Lu Ligan, "What do you want to do at 4:30? Lu Lizan didn't talk to him and hung up the phone directly. Lu Ligan fell on the sofa and looked at the neon lights of the Tang No Spring hot spring bath on the building opposite, which were constantly changing with colorful lights. At 4:30, Lu Ligan was woken up by his eldest brother. Lu Ligan asked Huang Jianren, "How long did you beat me?" "You picked up right after I was hid," Huang Jianren said. "Okay, thank you," Lu Ligan said and hung up the phone. He sat on the sofa and rubbed his eyes with his hands. The reason why he asked Huang Jianren how long he had been playing was to see how deeply he slept. From Huang Jianren's answer, we can know that if the phone on the coffee table rings at night, however, it was impossible for me not to hear it. Lu Ligan walked to the bathroom, took a cup of water, washed his face, then returned to the sofa and stared at the phone on the coffee table. He waited after 5 o'clock, after 6 o'clock, and after 7 o'clock. The phone was always silent. Lu Ligan's heart was already cold. He had to admit that it was not Huang Mei who made the wrong time, but her. "For one reason or another, I haven't called myself." Lu Ligan even felt that Huang Mei already knew about the changes in Heiken and her father's affairs. She should be involuntarily now, not wanting to, but unable to call him anymore. Thinking of this, Lu Ligan felt distressed. Lu Ligan fell down slumped. He wanted to support himself and continue to wait, holding on to the remaining hope, but he still fell asleep. The knock on the door woke Lu Ligan up. He looked at the time and saw that it was already past 9 o'clock. Wei Wenfang's voice came from outside the door, "Mr. Lu, Mr. Lu." Lu Ligan stood up, walked over and opened the door. He was stunned. He saw 2 people standing behind Wei Wenfang, wearing the same white shirt and blue trousers. One of them was holding a briefcase in his hand. Wei Wenfang and Lu Ligan said, "Mr. Lu, someone is looking for you." The 2 people walked in without waiting for Lu Ligan to say please come in. Wei Wenfang followed behind and wanted to follow. The man walking behind blocked the door with his hand and then closed the door. The two people walked into the office and looked at each other. Lou Ligon was there, as if this was their office. They sat down on the sofa and motioned for Lou Ligon to sit down. Lou Ligon couldn't figure out who these two people were, but from their dress and demeanor, he had a vague feeling that they should be people from relevant departments. Despite his doubts, Lou Ligon sat down. One of the two people looked at the phone on the coffee table and asked, "What, are you waiting for a call?" Lou Ligon said, "Excuse me, are you?" One of them waved his hand, interrupted Lou Ligon's words, and said to him, "We are here to find out something about you, and we hope you will cooperate." Lou Ligon was startled. This was the tone of the relevant departments again. Lou Ligon nodded, "Okay, please. Do you know Huang Rong?" "Who is Huang Rong?" Of course Lou Ligon knew who Huang Rong was. Meng Ping had already said it that day, but he didn't want to say too much until he found out who they were. The one holding the briefcase took out a photo from the briefcase, held it in his hand, gave Lou Ligon a look, and then took it back. Lou Ligon saw that the person in the photo was Huang Male. "We know her," Lou Ligon said, "however, I don't know her name is Huang Rong, I only know her name is Huang Male. Is she your girlfriend?" Lou Ligon shook his head. "Then what's your relationship?" "Excuse me, who are you?" Lou Ligon asked. "Don't worry about this, please answer our questions. What is your relationship?" This is the tone of the relevant departments again. "Friend. As far as we know, your relationship is not as simple as ordinary friends." "Yes, we played together and had meals together." "It seems like it's not just after dinner, right?" someone sneered. The one who sneered was a little sulky, and the other one stopped him with his eyes. "Do you know who she is?" the man then asked Lou Ligon. "Why do I care about that? I just know that she is a beauty, and I like beauties. That's all you know. I also know that she seems to be very rich and drives a nice car. I guess she is probably the mistress of a Taiwanese and Hong Kong person. Then you still want to contact me? Do you know where she is now?" "I don't know, we have broken up." "Oh, why?" "I have a girlfriend, and I'm afraid that she will find out." "Where is your girlfriend from?" "Then you have to tell me where you are from first." "Otherwise, why should I tell you?" The two people looked at each other, and the person holding the bag said to Lou Ligon, "As far as we know, your office received 2 overseas calls, one in the morning and one in the early morning, from Huang Rong." "No, it's my classmate. I asked her to help me find a design company." "I told you, the Huang Rong you are talking about, we have broken up and haven't contacted each other for half a month." "No, it's her BB phone that contacts her big brother Dadu." "Not on. Didn't you say that you have broken up? Why are you still contacting her? Do men think there are too many women? When my girlfriend is away, I just want to have some fun." "Do you care about this?" Lou Ligon looked at them and asked, "By the way, you have been asking for a long time, you still haven't told me who you are. If you don't want to tell me, please leave. I have nothing to say and no obligation to talk to you." The two people stood up and walked towards the door. When they reached the door, the one holding the briefcase pointed at Lou Li with the bag in his hand and threatened, "Be careful." Regarding this threat, Lou Ligon was sure that they were not from the relevant departments. It was possible that they were, but they were definitely not conducting any formal investigation. "What the hell do you mean?" Lou Ligon got angry and cursed. The door opened, and Wu Zayawai and Huang Jianren stood outside. Wu Zayawai walked in and called, "Mr. Liu, what's going on?" The two men looked at Wu Kaiwai and Huang Jianren, and left quickly without saying a word. Lou Ligon looked at the backs of these two people. He had a bad premonition. He felt that he would never receive another call from Huang Male in the future. Sure enough, Huang Male disappeared completely from then on. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei-Shi Niang. Chapter 336. Zhang Chen and others from the masonry class went to the open space. Lu Ligan asked Huang Jianren and Wu Ziyawai to go there and make a roster for them, calculate the daily workload, and pay wages according to the workload. Wu Ziyawai and Huang Jianren set off. More than half an hour later, Huang Jianren called and said to Lu Ligan, "Mr. Lu, everyone has arrived, but we can't start work here." "Why?" "They won't let you." "Who wouldn't let me?" "Those people who raise chickens here say that this is their chicken farm. If the grass is removed, where will their chickens go?" "I don't care where he gets raised. This is our land, not theirs. It's our land, and we can do whatever we want." "Yes, that's the truth. I told them about it, but there was nothing I could do. They just wouldn't let me." They also said, "What else can you say? If we say we want to demolish their shed, we will compensate them." "Didn't you tell them that we bought this land?" "I told you, but they didn't care. They said that the land is ours, but they spent their own money to build the sheds. If we want to touch their sheds, we have to pay them." "Are you still humming reasonable?" "It's just unreasonable." Wu Ziyawai and them were about to fight. Fortunately, I stopped Wu Ziyawai. There were too many of them. "How many of them are there?" "Men and women, there must be 30 or 40 in total. There is no need to be unreasonable when there are many people. In this case, you ask Wu Ziyawai to come and pick me up." Lu Ligan thought for a moment and said, "Forget it, I'll come over in a car and you guys wait there." Lu Ligan rushed there and saw Zhang Chen and the others standing in the shadow of the billboard. There were more than a dozen people on the other side, shirtless and wearing straw hats, standing under the sun. Wu Ziyawai and Huang Jianren were confronting them. Lu Ligan walked over and asked, "What happened?" As soon as Huang Jianren opened his mouth, the other party started talking and suppressed him with abuse. Lu Ligan said to them, "Okay, if he doesn't say it, who of you will say it?" A strong man with tattoos on his arms walked out of the crowd. He asked Lu Ligan, "Are you their leader?" Lu Ligan was right. "Then tell me, why do you want to build a wall here?" Lu Ligan smiled and said, "We want to build a house. This is our land. Of course we have to build a wall. So what do we do? What do we do with all the chickens? And our shed?" someone called from behind. "Yes, there is still our shed. If you demolish it, where will we live?" the strong man asked Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He said, "Okay, don't worry, let's sort things out first. First, this land is ours. Do you admit it?" The other party nodded. "Second, whether you raise chickens or build a shed here, you didn't get our consent, right?" The other party wanted to nod but didn't. "But we built it here, and no one of you objected at that time." Someone in the crowd yelled again, "What's wrong with building a few sheds to raise chickens on such a large piece of land?" On the side, Wu Ziyawai cursed, "Hixia Road is so wide, why the hell don't you go to Hixia Road to build a shed? If you build a shed, you can still collect tolls." The strong man glared at Wu Ziyawai, and Wu Ziyawai shouted, "What do you want?" Lu Ligan quickly stretched out his hand to stop him and looked at the strong man. The strong man tilted his head and thought for a moment, then said, "That's right. At that time, why didn't anyone say that it couldn't be built here? If you did, we would go somewhere else." Lu Ligan laughed and said, "Okay, let me ask you, now that you are out working and there is no one at home, can your neighbors just run into your yard and do whatever they want, and live in your house?" The strong man was speechless for a moment, and someone from behind shouted, "Why are you so verbose? It's not possible to demolish our house anyway. Where will we live if it is demolished? Luligan said, then tell me, what should we do? This land is so empty, and we don't need to build houses, so we can raise chickens for you. Even if we are willing, the government will not agree. Here is Kiumau was originally built to build houses, not raise chickens. Then we are not the only ones raising chickens here. There are people raising pigs on any piece of wasteland where no one is raising chickens, the strong man said. Luligan nodded, if we don't start work, you will be here. Didn't I already go to your place last week to see it? Did I say anything? Now our project is about to start. Of course it's about building walls and clearing the land. Then you ask the government to come over and say, the government can't drive us out on the streets, right? What about your land? The land is yours, but we built the sheds ourselves. If you want to demolish our sheds, you have to pay us. Someone shouted. Yes, we have to pay for the chicken, many people agreed. Luligan felt like his head was spinning. He felt that this group of people were not blind people, but completely hooligans. Their reasoning did not make sense. If you had 1,000 truths, they would have 10,000 fallacies to refute you. Lulipole waved and said to the person who just spoke. Come here, if you want to talk like this, then fine, I won't put up a wall. Since it's our land, you can do whatever you want. You take me there and tell me which is your shed. I'll live in your shed from today on. No, I'll get the straw mat myself. I'll sleep on it's on your own land and it doesn't touch your shed, so you can't take care of it, right? If you think it's not possible, you can build the shed somewhere else. But you entered my shed, the man argued. Then you entered my land and you built your shed on my land without even saying hello to me. I'm on my own land and can go wherever I don't want to. Do you still need your consent? Yes, we will bring straw mats and send people to every shed, Wuzeawai shouted. The other party was speechless. The strong man held it in for a long time and glared at Luligan. I think you are here to cause trouble today. Let me tell you, I am not afraid of you. Luligan smiled and said, why should I be afraid of you? I just want to find a place to sleep. It's my own land. I can sleep wherever I want. There are also chickens on our ground. We can catch as many as we want. Otherwise, you can ask the chicken if it recognizes you, Wuzeawai shouted. Then I have to ask the chickens on Hixia Road. I can't tell you the chickens here, someone shouted among the workers here, and everyone burst into laughter. The strong man was extremely angry and roared, if you have the ability, try it. Don't say that I don't recognize people with my fists. As the conversation between them became more and more intense, the masons standing under the billboard gathered around. One of them pulled Huang Jianren aside and quietly told him, give Mr. Zhang a call. Huang Jianren came to his senses and quickly called Zhang Chen's office using Big Brother and told him about the situation here. After a while, Zhang Chen came with Cao Qiuqing on a motorcycle. Cao Qiuqing got off the car and headed towards the car. One of the masons cursed, you are all dead people, you can only stand alone. Those people murmured, didn't you tell us not to cause trouble outside? Then let's see whose business it is. Mr. Lu is Master's eldest brother, idiot, Cao Qiuqing scolded. Cao Qiuqing stepped forward, looked at the strong man, and snorted, another green dragon and white tiger. The strong man glared at him. Cao Qiuqing asked, you can decide these people? Do they all listen to you? The strong man scratched his neck, so what? Cao Qiuqing smiled and said, why are you still so long-winded? Come on, let's challenge each other. If I lose, no problem, I will satisfy all your requirements. I will give you whatever you want. If you lose, you don't have to worry about it. You can get away as far as you want, otherwise, I'll beat you out as well, So why don't you do it? The strong man looked at Cao Qiuqing without saying anything. He looked at the crowd behind him, and they were also silent. Zhang Chen watched from the side, knowing that this strong man was already timid. He felt secretly funny. He didn't expect that Cao Qiuqing, who was usually submissive, had Xiao Wu's demeanor at this critical moment. No wonder Xiao Wu wanted to recommend him. A roar suddenly sounded, and more than a dozen motorcycles rolled up dust and covered the sky and sun, approaching from a distance, and soon formed a fan shape behind Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan. The strong man became excited when he saw this scene. He said to Cao Qiuqing, "My boss is here. If you want to, go and tell my boss." After the dust settled, a person walked out from behind the motorcycle array. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan were stunned. They saw that it was Zheng who came. Zheng was also stunned when he saw them and asked, "Brother Zhang, Brother Lu, why are you here?" Zhang Chen laughed and pointed at Lu Ligan without saying anything. Lu Ligan said, "This is my land." "Is this your land, Brother Lu?" Zheng shouted, "It's too big." Lu Ligan smiled and said, "Yes, didn't I just change hands? I've been very busy during this period and haven't had time to tell my friends yet." Zheng waved to the strong man. Seeing Brother Zheng's attitude towards Zhang Chen and Lu Lipol, the strong man knew that he had messed up. He walked over quickly, and Zheng slapped him on the back of the head and cursed. Rip off, you humming rip-off, you're blind, you didn't ask clearly whose land this is before you rip it off." The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Xiniang. Chapter 337. It was Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan who persuaded Zheng to stop teaching the strong man. Zheng shook his head with them and said that there was nothing he could do. Each of these people was stupider than the other and they couldn't be taught no matter how hard they taught him. Zhang Chen was laughing in his heart, "If not stupid, who can join society with you?" Zheng took the strong man and a group of people and left together. More than a dozen motorcycles still caused a stir in the area. Zheng was the last one to leave. Lu Ligan told him that he would wait until he finished the work. "For a few days, we drank together." Zheng said, "Yes, I will definitely drink your brother Liu's wine." After Zheng and the others left, the remaining chicken farmers suddenly became depressed. They knew that their sheds had to be demolished today. Although the boss was unwilling, there was nothing they could do. They saw with their own eyes that even the famous brother Zheng and the other party, they all call them brothers and treat them with great respect. How can I defeat them? After the sound of motorcycles faded away, the two groups of people here fell into a temporary silence. Zhang Chen and the workers here were waiting for a good show. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan felt that they didn't have much to say. They were just waiting for those people. "Retreat by yourself, pack up your things and leave. They have lost support. Why should you step in again?" Those people stood there, with the sun shining on their bare arms, which were shiny. Although they knew that the situation was over, they were unwilling to give up. They all looked at an old man in his 60s. It seemed that this old man was their master. Long. The old man coughed twice and walked over with a thick face. He said to Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan, "Two bosses, we did something wrong. Originally, we had no choice but to live here raising chickens. If you let us go, we have nothing to say. We have no intention of ripping you off. It was those people who came over and told us that if any landowners came, we would notify them and let them deal with it. They also said that they would make up for some of our losses when the matter was over." "That person just now is not one of yours?" Zhang Chen asked. "Of course not. He usually hangs around this area. I heard that this area is under his control. Didn't we see your people coming this morning? We detained him before he came over." Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen understood that that guy was Zheng's subordinate. They probably used this method to control the chickens and pigs in the open spaces of the International Trade Center. They incited these homeless farmers. When some landowners wanted to drive them away when they occupied these open spaces, it was Ajeng and the others who came forward to force the landowners to bleed to satisfy their demands in the name of compensation. The old man said to them, "Two bosses, it's just that we have 9 households here, more or less, with more than 40 people, old and young. We can move at any time today. We really don't have room. You adults are in large numbers, can you give us a 2-day break?" Zhang Chen said, "Let's go in and take a look." Okay, the old man turned around and led them along a road among the weeds and walked in. Cao Kuoking, Huang Jianren and Wu Zayawai also followed Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan. They walked to the row of linoleum sheds. When they walked closer, they discovered that the sheds were much larger than what they saw from a distance outside. In the open space at the entrance of the sheds, there were black mesh sunshades drawn. Several children were playing in the open space. When they saw the many strangers who came in all of a sudden, they were stunned and looked at them timidly. There were 2 elderly women sitting there. When they saw them, they got up and went into the shed. There was a young woman holding a child. They probably knew that Lu Ligan and the others were here to drive them away, so they looked at them with some resentment. Their eyes were red. At the end of this row of sheds, there is a large open space on the side. The open space is full of chickens. There is also a row of low sheds behind the open space, which are slightly higher than the surrounding grass, so they cannot see this row of sheds from outside. These are supposed to be chicken coops. When they walked back, they found that there were chickens in the grass around here, and the whole place was filled with the smell of chicken feces. Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen looked at each other and shook their heads. Lu Ligan said to the old man, "Let's do this. I'll give you half a month. You can dismantle these sheds yourself. If it works, you can still use it if you change places." The old man quickly said, "Okay, thank you, boss." "How many chickens do you have here?" Zhang Chen asked. "More than 5,000, the old man said. "So many?" Zhang Chen asked in shock. "What about these chickens? Will they move with you?" The old man smiled bitterly and said, "No one knows where to live next, so how can we care about these chickens? We can only get rid of them in the next few days. Alas, they can only be sold as cabbage." "Who did you sell chickens to before?" Lu Ligan asked. "Chicken dealers, but they can only buy a dozen or 20 chickens a day. How can they get so many chickens all at once? They can only sell them cheaply," the old man said, shaking his head. Lu Ligan thought for a moment, and then he told Wu Zayawai, "Go to my house and bring my landlord Yilin's mother here." The old man asked them to sit down at a table. Behind the table was probably the old man's residence. After they sat down, an old woman came out and placed a bowl in front of each of them. She also picked up a clay teapot. "Fill each bowl with red tea." Everyone else felt thirsty and drank from their bowls. Huang Jianren was the only one. Although his throat was filled with smoke, he stared at the bowl and the table in front of him. There was also a suspiciously dry soup on the table. He always drank. "Don't dare to move." More than half an hour later, Wu Zayawai came with Yilin's mother. Lu Ligan asked the old man, "You just said, what price did you sell to the chicken dealer?" The old man told them 5 yuan and 34. Lu Ligan asked Yilin's mother, "If you sell it at this price, will it be easy to sell?" Yilin's mother said that it was much cheaper than in the market, and it would definitely be easier to sell. "Then you can sell them at this price and don't increase the price. There are more than 5,000 here. The sooner you sell them, the better," Lu Ligan and Yilin's mother said. Yilin's mother was hesitant. Lu Ligan knew that if they didn't increase the price, their profits would be gone. If they were allowed to increase the price, the chickens would be sold slower. Lu Ligan and Yilin's mother said, "In this way, if they give you 5 yuan and 4 per catty, you can sell it at 5 yuan and 5 per catty. For every chicken you sell, I will reward you with another 1 yuan and 50 cents for a chicken, can you see it? Yilin's mother smiled, if that's the case, it will definitely sell out quickly. I'll give you 10 days to sell out all the more than 5,000 chickens here, is that okay? Lu Ligan asked. Okay, I'll ask more people to sell this place. Yilin's mother nodded repeatedly. Lu Ligan turned around and asked the old man, look, is this okay? The old man quickly handed over his hand, thank you. Boss, don't worry, we will definitely move on time. Yilin's mother asked Wu Zaiwai, Master Wu, can you take me home? What for? Wu Zaiwai asked. Yilin's mother said, I will go back and call someone now, and I can sell it today. I can't make it at noon. When I get off work in the evening, it is the time when the most people buy chickens. Lu Ligan and Wu Zaiwai said, send her back quickly and don't dampen her enthusiasm. Zhang Chen, Lu Ligan, Huang Jianren, and Cao Kuoking said goodbye to the old man and walked outside. Huang Jianren and Lu Ligan said, there are more than 5,000 chickens, and the subsidy is 1.5 yuan per chicken, which costs 8,000 to 9,000 yuan money. How do you account for this money? Isn't it difficult to do it? 8 or 9,000 yuan, I don't know how many people have to be mobilized. I have been selling it for a few days. Even if we treat people to a meal, it will cost more than this. This person is still very angry after comparing with each other. Lu Ligan cursed. Mr. Lu, then this money should be reimbursed as entertainment expenses or office expenses. It would be less troublesome, Huang Jianren said. No, reimburse the truth. It's the relocation subsidy. If the chairman asks, I'll explain to him that our building is going to be built here. What we want to gather is popularity, not resentment and anger. If resentment and anger accumulate here, it won't be right. It's also very unlucky for us, don't you think? I said yes before Huang Jianren could answer. Zhang Chen answered for him. Huang Jianren smiled and said yes. Everyone in Hainan is superstitious anyway, so I think this statement is acceptable. Zhang Chen and Cao Kuoking said that the workers can start working, regardless of the inside, first build the outer wall, and then clean it from the outside to the inside. The time is almost up, and by the way, they will demolish it. When building a shed, if you need helpers, it's not easy to ask the workers to just help them and look at them. Lu Ligan said yes. Helping them demolish the shed can be included in the project volume, and the salary will be paid. For them and for ourselves, in order to change the place as soon as possible, it is nothing to spend this small extra money. Cao Kuoking said yes, I will listen to you and I will make it clear to the workers. It was noon and the sun was shining brightly. When they walked back to the billboard, the shadow of the billboard had shrunk to a very small area. There were no big trees around, so there was no way to hide. The workers were anxiously working under the sun. Wait for them. Lu Ligan took out 300 yuan from his pocket and gave it to Cao Kuoking. He told him that he had delayed everyone for a long time and did not do any work. The sun is so bright now that it is impossible to do any work. You can take them and eat first. Let's have a quick meal and a beer, and come back in the afternoon when the sun is down. Cao Kuoking refused to accept it and looked at Zhang Chen. Zhang Chen said, just accept it? You have to eat. Cao Kuoking then accepted the money, and Lu Ligan told him that it was not far away, under the South Bridge. Cao Kuoking said he knew. Zhang Chen also gave him the motorcycle. He, Lu Ligan, and Huang Jianren simply walked back. Anyway, it's not far from the Longja building. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Niang. Chapter 338. The three of them walked along Kuomao Road to the edge of the financial garden. They saw a small shop and felt hungry, so they walked in. Lu Ligan asked the boss if he could cook spicy dishes. The boss said yes. I am from mainland China. Come. Many chefs in Hainan will run away when they smell spicy food, even though Hainan produces very spicy yellow bell peppers. Zhang Chen looked at Huang Jianren and asked, "Can he?" "This bitch learns every day and makes progress every day," Lu Ligan said with a smile. Huang Jianren ignored what they were saying. As soon as he entered the store, he went to the freezer, opened the freezer, took out a bottle of cold beer, bit it open with his teeth, drank half the bottle, and then let out a long sigh. "Take a breath." Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan looked at him and couldn't help laughing. They noticed in front of them that everyone else was drinking tea, but he was the only one who endured it without touching the bowl. The weather was very hot and the food was delicious. The three of us were blowing the fans and drinking cold beers, feeling very comfortable. Huang Jianren saw a car slowly passing by outside the door. He quickly ran out and shouted loudly. The car returned to the door and stopped. Wu Ziyawai got out of the car. Wu Ziyawai told them, "You have come back, why did you bother me to go there?" Lu Ligan asked him to sit down and eat together. Wu Ziyawai went to the counter and asked for a can of coconut juice and sat on the edge to drink it. He said he couldn't eat anymore and had just finished eating. "Where did you eat?" Lu Ligan asked curiously. "At their place. When I arrived, they were just eating braised noodles. They asked me to eat together, and I ate 2 big bowls," Wu Ziyawai said. "You dare to eat there?" Huang Jianren's eyes widened. "That place stinks everywhere, and that table. What's the matter? Let me tell you. We went to the carrot field next to the factory to steal carrots. The farmers had just poured manure on them. We pulled them up, washed them in the ditch next to them and ate them. The taste was better than apples. It's delicious." Wu Ziyawai said nonchalantly, and Lu Ligan and Zhang Chen laughed. "Which child has never done such a thing?" Huang Jianren almost vomited out the food he just ate while listening. Lu Ligan and Wu Ziyawai said, "Don't tell the young master what you said. His father has experienced it and can understand it. He must not be able to do it. He has never heard of it." Lu Ligan looked at Huang Jianren and asked, "Did your family live in the former palace?" Huang Jianren asked curiously, "How do you know?" "I also know that your hometown must be in Huanggang or southern Gansu, or some ravine in northern Shaanxi," Lu Ligan said with a smile. "From Huanggang," Huang Jianren said. Lu Ligan continued, "Look, am I right? Let me tell you, once this mud-legged person lives in the palace, it will deteriorate faster than the prince." You," Huang Jianren cursed. Lu Ligan and Huang Jianren's eldest brother's big bag was exactly the same. They were lying side by side on the table. The phone rang and everyone calmed down. After listening for a while, they concluded that it belonged to Lu Ligan. Lu Ligan took the bag and pulled it. He opened the zipper, took out the mobile phone from inside, pressed the answer button, and heard Meng Ping calling from inside. "Pol, I'm on the way to Wenchang now. I have a piece of land. I'll take it in the afternoon." "Very good." Zhang Chen heard it from the side, leaned over and shouted, "Where is it? Let's go and have a look." "Tomorrow, I will complete the procedures in the afternoon, get the red line map, and treat them to dinner in the evening," Meng Ping shouted. "Tomorrow I will take you to see it." "Okay, congratulations to you, Meng Ping," Zhang Chen also shouted. When Lu Ligan returned home, he took the atlas as usual and lay on the bed, staring at the red circle in Seattle. He no longer knew whether Huang Meli was still in the red circle. He missed it. After the object became uncertain, Lu Ligan felt that even his longing itself had become wandering and had nothing to rely on. Lu Ligan sighed deeply. Lu Ligan stared at the ceiling above his head. He saw the spider again. This spider that he once despised seemed a bit enviable today. It could always stay in the web it had made without worrying about it. The world outside the internet is why it can be so determined, so quiet, and so at ease that it can stay motionless throughout the night. There was the sound of the door opening downstairs, and then the sound of a tricycle being pushed into the yard. He knew that this was Yilin's mother coming back. Lu Ligan quickly got up, ran to the corridor outside the door, leaned over and looked down. Yilin's mother is using an iron chain to lock the tricycle. Lu Ligan asked Yilin's mother, "Did you go to sell chickens today?" Yilin's mother raised her head and said to him, "Sell it, sell it. I bought 32 of them, and they were all sold out." "It's so fast, then why don't you pull a few more?" "I'm having a headache here too," Yilin's mother said. "This tricycle can't hold so much. It would be nice if there was a big iron cage." "How many people came to you today?" Yilin's mother raised her hand, spread her fingers, compared it, turned it over, compared it again, turned it back, and compared it again. Lu Ligan knew that there were 15 people, so hundreds of them were sold in half a day today. It seems that there is no big problem in selling out more than 5,000 chickens in 10 days. Lu Ligan returned to the room, took a towel and toothbrush to the bathroom, brushed his teeth and took a shower. He was really tired these days. He planned to go to bed early. Tomorrow morning, he would go to Wenchang to see Meng Ping's land. When Lu Ligan was shaken awake, the light in the room was very dazzling. He saw two figures shaking above his head. He blinked and saw clearly that they were Wen Wen and Qian Qian. "Lu Ligan," he cursed, "what are you doing? Do you want to molest me? Tell me the truth, where have you been these past few days and why can't you see anyone?" Wen Wen asked. "I don't even know where I went. I must have been fascinated by the vixen, and I only woke up in the afternoon," Lu Ligan said with a smile. "Tell me, where is the vixen?" Qian Qian asked. "How do I know? If I knew, I would have gone with her," Lu Ligan said. "What are you doing? Why are you so concerned about me today?" "I'm hungry, so I want you to have a midnight snack," Wen Wen said. "No, I want to sleep," Lu Li turned over. "Stingy guy, it's us who invited you," Qian Qian shouted. Lu Ligan turned around and asked, "Really?" Wen Wen and Qian Qian nodded together. Lu Ligan sat up, reached out to touch their foreheads, and then his own, teasing, "No one has a fever. Could it be that the sun falls from the west, and then from the west, climbed up?" Wen Wen and Qian Qian each took one of Lu Ligan's hands and pulled him up. "Change your clothes quickly," Wen Wen scolded. Lu Ligan looked at his vest and big pants, and cursed, "You are sick. Why don't you change your clothes after a midnight snack? You are the only one who is sick. We are going to the Lion Building." Lu Ligan looked at them with wide eyes. He thought they must be teasing him. He quickly said, "Okay, I accept your wishes. Don't waste money in the middle of the night. Let's go to the back and have a simple meal." "Can?" "What are you talking about? The car is waiting below," Qian Qian scolded. Lu Ligan was doubtful. He walked outside the door and looked down. Sure enough, he saw a car parked outside the gate in the darkness. Only then did Lu Ligan believe what they said. He thought that they had probably caught some fish tonight. He blackmailed him into going to the lion house to treat guests, but his conscience found out that he still remembered him. The three of them went downstairs and walked out of the door. Lu Ligan was startled when he saw his car parked outside the door. Wu Zaiyi put his seat down and was sleeping. Lu Ligan cursed, "How the hell did you get together?" Wen Wen and Qian Qian didn't answer, they just kept laughing. Qian Qian opened the door of the passenger seat, and Wen Wen pushed Lu Ligang in. Lu Ligang slapped Wu Zaiyi hard. Wu Zaiyi was startled, opened his eyes and saw him, and quickly straightened his seat. Wen Wen and Qian Qian got into the back seat from both sides. Lu Ligan asked Wu Zaiyi, "Why the hell are you here?" Wu Zaiyi said angrily, "Ask them, do you think I am willing to come?" Lu Ligan turned his head and looked behind him, where Wen Wen and Qian Qian were still laughing. Lu Ligan stared at Wu Zaiyi, and Wu Zaiyi said aggrievedly, "I was sleeping soundly at home, and they detained me. I called back, and they told me that you were drunk in the box of Daowen Hotel, And they couldn't lift you, let me go over and take you home, can I not go over? You idiot, you won't hit my big brother and ask me. Your wife said you were so drunk that you didn't know anything. Can I believe it? They were so serious. Who knew that when I arrived at the door of Darwin Hotel, I only saw the two of them? Come on, Wenwen called from behind, then let's go to the Lion House for supper. Aren't you happy immediately? Wu Zaiwai chuckled, people say that the Lion building is very high-end, but I have never been there. There's no future, Lu Ligan scolded. The car drove to Binhai Avenue, and Lu Ligan shouted, stop the car. Wu Zaiwai pulled over the car and asked, what's wrong? Lu Ligan turned around and said to Wenwen Qian, how about we trick your brother Zhang Chen out too? Okay, Wenwen and Qian both shouted. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 339. Quick, think quickly, how to deceive you, brother Zhang Chen, Lu Ligan and Wenwen Qian said. Just say you are about to die, Wu Zaiwai interrupted. Lu Ligan became furious and cursed, you are about to die. Even if I'm about to die, it doesn't matter to Mr. Zhang, Wu Zaiwai said. Wenwen and Qian laughed. Lu Ligan and Wenwen Qian said, ignore this nonsense, think about it quickly. Wenwen smiled and pointed at Wu Kai, and said to Lu Ligan, just follow what brother Kai said. Lu Ligan glared at her and cursed, you are worse than him. Okay, instead of saying you're dying, how about we just say you're unconscious, Qian asked. Isn't that the same? Lu Lizan was still angry. That's right, let's just say that when we went home, we found you lying on the bed and you couldn't wake up no matter how you screamed, Wenwen said. Brother Zhang Chen will definitely say that he will come right away, Qian continued Wenwen's words, we just told him, no need, we have already called an ambulance. Yes, don't you have to go through Wenming East to go to City Number 1 hospital? If we let him wait in Wenming East, wouldn't he run out? Wenwen became excited, clapped her hands and shouted. I think it's okay, Wu Zaiwai said. Lu Ligan glared at him. Wu Zaiwai immediately changed his mind and said, okay, the leader will announce that it's okay. Lu Ligan thought for a while, and he also felt that this plan was feasible. He handed the big brother to Wenwen and told Wenwen, come and detain him. Do you want me to imitate the ambulance siren sound? I can imitate it very well, Wu Zaiwai said. Lu Ligan waved his hand and hit the back of his head. Wu Zaiwai was already prepared. He ducked his head and dodged. Qian called from behind, brother Kai, you can learn from this and try. Wu Zaiwai put his hands in front of his mouth, forming a horn shape, and imitated the sound of an ambulance siren. Even Lu Ligan had to admit that if he hadn't seen other people, this would really make people think that the ambulance was coming. Lu Ligan said, the sirens are all outside the car. If they are inside, go outside. Wu Zaiwai rolled down the window, got off the station and walked outside the car, imitating the siren sound. Lu Ligan said it was okay, Wenwen, you can deduct Zhang Chen. Wenwen dunked Zhang Chen. Wu Zaiwai bent down and wanted to ask something, but Lu Ligang scolded, don't stop. Wu Kai stood next to the car, using his hands as a trumpet, and kept whining. The passing cars looked at him, thinking that he had drunk too much and was going crazy while standing on the roadside. After a while, Lu Ligan's eldest brother made a loud noise. We're back, Wenwen shouted, pointing her finger at them and saying, don't even laugh. Qian opened the door and said I'd better go down, I'm afraid I can't help it. Wenwen pressed the answer button, and as soon as the call came through, she shouted, it's not good, brother Zhang Chen, brother Ganzi has passed out. Qian and I came back, but we couldn't wake him up. Zhang Chen said and then said as expected, Wen Wen, don't worry, I'll be right over. Wen Wen said, we called an ambulance and it should be here soon. Lu Ligan winked at her anxiously, and Wen Wen finally realized that Wu Zaiyi had been screaming outside. She should have said she was in the ambulance. How could she say the ambulance was coming? Fortunately, Zhang Chen didn't realize this. He just asked urgently, which hospital are you going to? I'll be there right away. City number 1 hospital. Well, you have to pass through Wenmingdong. I will wait on the side of the road. If you see me, ask the driver to stop. Okay, brother Zhang Chen. Wen Wen put down the phone, and everyone inside and outside the car laughed. Wu Zaiyi and Qian got into the car. Lu Ligan and Wu Zaiyi said, don't stop the sirens and continue. Why? Wu Zaiyi asked. Let Zhang Chen hear it. Wu Zaiyi said and said, we will learn it when we get to Wenmingdong later. Qian reached out her hand, pushed him on the back of the head, and cursed, are you stupid? Only then did Wu Zaiyi realize that he was not driving an ambulance. The siren sounded like a fart. He chuckled and said, I was bypassed by this bad guy. The others almost burst out laughing. Zhang Chen stood at the entrance of the alley in Wenming East and looked to the left at the intersection of Boa South Road and Wenming East Road. If the ambulance was coming, it should turn out of this intersection. He was a little anxious and a little strange. Lu Lizan was fine when they broke up in the afternoon, so why did he pass out? Zhang Chen thought, might he have suffered from heat stroke in that open space in the morning? This guy works hard during the day and also at night. He is just a hollow carrot. How can he withstand such a strong sun? Yes, it must be like this. A car stopped in front of him. Zhang Chen frowned, moved a few steps, walked behind the car, and continued to look at the intersection. He was waiting for the ambulance to come, and was worried that he was standing here. Behind the car, Wen Wen couldn't see him in the ambulance, so he simply moved 2 steps further away from the car. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw someone getting off the car, but he didn't bother to pay attention and continued to look around. Brother Zhang Chen, someone shouted, and his shoulders were patted on both sides. Zhang Chen was startled. He turned around and saw Wen Wen and Qian standing behind him. Zhang Chen asked urgently. Wen Wen, save. It was also strange that he was too focused on the intersection just now. Even when the car stopped in front of him, he didn't realize that it was Lu Ligan's car. He saw Lu Ligan get out of the car, holding the door and laughing. Only then did Zhang Chen realize that he had been deceived and cursed, what the hell are you doing? Wen Wen stretched out her hand to touch his chest and said to him, don't be angry, don't be angry. Qian took his arm and said to him, get in the car, brother Zhang Chen. They got Zhang Chen into the car. Wen Wen and Qian, one on each side, sandwiched Zhang Chen in the middle. The two of them hugged his neck and hung on both sides of him, laughing. Lu Ligan and him said, these two diehards must invite you to the Lion House for a midnight snack. Tell me, this is a good thing that only happens once in 10,000 years. Should I invite you? Zhang Chen also smiled. He looked at Wen Wen and Qian on the left and right, and asked, what good things do you have? We'll talk about it when we get there, Wen Wen giggled. When they arrived at the Lion Tower, it was almost 3 o'clock. The peak time had passed, and they had a seat when they arrived. But the performance was over, and Wu Zaiyi regretted it for a long time. Qian gave Zhang Chen the recipe and told him that Zhang Chen would order first and he could order whatever he wanted. Zhang Chen ordered 2 things and handed the recipe back to Qian. Qian handed it to Wu Zaiyi and said to him, it's your turn. Wu Zaiyi flipped through the menu and shouted, I want to eat it no matter what I look at. Then just eat this recipe book, Lu Ligan scolded. Wu Zaiyi ordered 4, and Lu Lipol rubbed his hands and shouted, "Haha, it's finally my turn." He took the recipe from Wu Kai, but Qian Qian took it back and shouted, "Whatever you order, you can eat whatever we eat." Wen Wen and Qian Qian buried their heads together and quickly ordered a few more. It seemed that before they came, they had already made plans in their minds about what they would eat here. Qian Qian returned the recipe to the orderer and told her to serve it quickly. Lu Ligan looked at Wen Wen and Qian Qian with his eyes wide open, and cursed, "Damn, I can't be so undignified, can I?" Zhang Chen smiled and said, "There is a difference between inside and outside. Xiao Wu and I are outsiders." "No, brother Zhang Chen, you are not an outsider, he is." Wen Wen pointed at Lu Ligan with her finger. Qian Qian knocked her hand off and cursed. "Oh, he's not even an outsider, he's a bad guy." Zhang Chen laughed, "I agree with this." Wu Zai said, "I agree too." Lu Ligan looked at Wu Zai and asked, "Do you still want to get your salary this month?" Wu Kai muttered, "Then you will be even worse." Wen Wen said, "Don't be afraid, if he doesn't give it to you, we will help you grab it." Wu Zai smiled and said, "Okay, I'll listen to the boss lady." "My mother is humming in Yongchen." Lu Ligan raised his hand and put it down again when he saw people around him. Zhang Chen looked at Wen Wen and Qian Qian and asked them, "Now you can tell me, what good things do you have?" Wen Wen smiled and said proudly, "We have obtained the foreigner's license." So fast, even Lu Ligan was surprised at this moment. It's really a female general who takes action, one can defeat two others. "I'll give you a beating," Zhang Chen said. Lu Ligan chuckled, yes, give me a beating. That foreigner brought two friends with him today and asked us to help him get 2 copies, Qian Qian said. "Great, then you really should treat us to a midnight snack," Lu Ligan said. Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan both raised their glasses. Wu Zai didn't know what they were talking about, but he also raised his glasses. "But this foreigner asked us to ask them for 60,000 yuan and give him a 10,000 yuan kickback," Wen Wen said. "Haha," Lu Ligan laughed and said, "This is him. However, he still didn't sing today, but he gave us a tip," Qian Qian added. "By the way, your brother Zhang Chen will apply for a license in a few days. How will you behave?" Lu Ligan asked. "Really?" Wen Wen looked at Zhang Chen and asked. Zhang Chen nodded. "Then I will definitely go all out, brother Zhang Chen. If Lao Ma doesn't sign immediately, I will beat him to death," Wen Wen said. "Then Xiao Zanbo wants to be verbose, so I'll just do it," Qian Qian said, fanning her hands in front of her face. The Pentium Era, South to North. Author, Mei Shi Niang. Chapter 340. Early the next morning, Lu Ligan was awakened by the sound of squeaking downstairs. He got up and walked outside the door, looked down, and couldn't help but feel happy. He saw Yilin's mother remove the safety cage from the window on the first floor and put it on the tricycle. The carriage of the tricycle immediately turned into a large iron cage. She was holding a vise and using wire to secure the safety cage. One side of the cage is fixed to the iron guardrail of the tricycle carriage. Lu Ligan ran down to help. The two of them fixed one side. Lu Ligan wanted to fix the other side. Yilin's mother quickly stopped her and told him that there was no need for that side. The chickens had to be taken in and out from there. Lu Ligan understood. Yilin's mother took out a pile of old fishing nets from the utility room in the yard and cut them into pieces. Lu Ligan was surprised and thought, "Why are we using fishing nets?" When Yilin's mother tied them between the unfixed three-sided cage and the guardrail of the tricycle, Lu Ligan understood that when the cage was opened and closed like this, the chickens would not be able to fly out. Haha, that's okay. It is really the wisdom of the working people, and Lu Ligan greatly admires it. Yilin's mother cut a hole in the net on one side and tied it with a rope when not in use. After untying the rope, you can reach in and catch the chicken. Yilin's mother told Lu Ligan that the distance between the cages was too wide, and she had to tie some ropes across them so that even thin chickens could not fly out. Luligan gave her an idea and said, "Can you just put the old fishing net directly on top?" Yilen's mother said no, the net would have to be given to other people. Every family has this cage, and now that we are no longer fishing, not every family has a fishing net. Wu Zai parked the car at the door and honked the horn. Both Yilen's mother and Luligan saw the car at the door. Yilen's mother said, "You go, I can finish the rest in a while." Luligan went upstairs, washed up, came down, got in the car, and told Wu Zai to pick up Mr. Zhang at Wanghai Tower. They picked up Zhang Chen at Wanghai Tower and went downstairs to Meng Ping's company. Meng Ping and the others were already waiting for them. Meng Ping saw that a car for 5 people would be enough, and told Cao Ziahe that you should stay at home. He took Qianfang and got into Luligan's car. As soon as he got in the car, Meng Ping excitedly told Zhang Chen and Luligan that the land we were going to see totaled 120 acres. It was a very large area. It was a little off, but the scenery was first-rate. The first line sea view is very suitable whether it is a resort, a hotel, a sanatorium, or a villa. You will know after you go and see it. After a while, Meng Ping sighed again. He said, "It's a pity that I don't have money, poles, or a strong partner like you. Otherwise, I would be reluctant to sell it to others." "Then take it and wait for the opportunity," Zhang Chen said. Meng Ping shook his head, "I can't keep it, I can't keep it. The land transfer money hasn't been paid in full yet, so I'll lose everything in my hands." Luligan and Meng Ping said, "The ghost guy who rented you the car has obtained a real estate company license. This guy brought 2 friends from Hong Kong to look for my mistress yesterday. They also want to set up a real estate company." "Oh, really?" Meng Ping asked. Qianfang said on the side, "I have a university classmate from mainland China who knows that I work in a real estate company in Hainan. He also called me yesterday to inquire about some things. Their company also seems to be interested in setting up a real estate company in Haikan." Meng Ping was silent, staring straight out of the window. Qianfang looked at him and asked, "What are you thinking about?" "That's wrong," Meng Ping said. "What's wrong?" Qianfang asked, confused. "The wind has picked up, dragons are crouching on the 7-star altar, and the east wind is blowing all night," Meng Ping murmured. Qianfang smiled and said, "What is this mess?" When Luligan heard this, he felt a shiver in his heart. He knew that this was an allusion to Zhuliang borrowing the east wind in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Their troupe's performance of Borrowing the East Wind contained these 2 lines of poetry, followed by 2 more lines. It wasn't Kong Ming's ingenious plan that made Zhou Langan succeed. "Meng Ping, what do you mean?" Luligan asked. "Looking at these things separately, they are all accidental. Taken together, they are not accidental. Based on my intuition, I feel that the wind is blowing. Pole, the opportunity for you and me may be coming soon." "What you just did, the feet are very accurate," Meng Ping said. "You mean, it's related to the document that will be sent?" Luligan asked. "Of course, as long as the wind blows, it will get stronger and stronger. This world will never lack well-informed people and gossip." Meng Ping turned around and said to Qianfang, "It seems that what we are talking about is there are several pieces of land that need to be grasped. Hold on tight, it's not like you don't know those people. It doesn't matter, you arrange the time, I will talk to them, and when it comes time to tell them directly, when the wind really picks up, not only will we lose the opportunity, but so will they. When everyone is watching, their officials are still too young, can't control it." "Okay, I'll make the arrangements," Qianfang said. "By the way, Pole, the land transfer procedures are complete. The next planning and construction application procedures must be carried out quickly. As the same saying goes, when the wind really picks up, these departments will have more people looking for them. These will the threshold for gentlemen will rise. If you don't understand anything, You should ask Qianfang. Meng Ping told Lu Ligan that Lu Ligan said yes, and you were right to remind him. The road from Haikan to Wenchang was relatively easy to walk. It took them more than 2 hours to walk on the more than 90 kilometers of provincial roads. It was almost 1 o'clock when they arrived at Wenchang County. They were at a roadside restaurant by the highway and ordered some seafood and Wenchang chicken. Qianfang also recommended that they eat Lee's vinegar. Each person had a bowl of cooked seafood and beef offal and haggis, poured Lee's vinegar on top, and took a mouthful. When it goes down, it's sour, spicy, sweet, and very delicious. The 5 of them were sweating profusely after eating, and Lu Ligan shouted, "It's so satisfying. Where can I find this in Haikan?" Meng Ping said, "I seem to have seen it at the Dongmen market when I was shopping for vegetables. I didn't know what it was at the time. I thought it was fishy and didn't dare to eat it. Only when I tasted it in Wenchang did I realize that it is a delicacy in the world." After eating, we got on the bus and continued walking. Wenchang County was ahead of us. Wenchang County is very small and is a famous hometown of overseas Chinese. The main street of the county is an old arcade street with Nanyang style, built in the 1920s and 1930s by the overseas Chinese who returned to their hometown. The scale is not comparable to the old arcade street in Shanghai. It runs through the entire Wenchang County. They entered from one end of the old street, and when they came out from the other end, they left Wenchang County. Meng Ping's land was in Hugang, and it took 20 minutes to drive out of the county. They arrived at a 3-way intersection. There was a sign at the end of the road with 2 arrows drawn on it. To the right was Kinglan Port, to the left was Tuyuan. Behind a mangrove forest directly in front was Beiman Bay, Meng Ping. Direct Wu Kai to go left. Wu Zai turned the car onto the road leading to Tuyuan on the left. Both Meng Ping and Qianfang opened their eyes wide. Qianfang asked, "Lao Mang, did you go wrong? Is this where we came yesterday?" "Yes, there is no other way here." Meng Ping said this, but he was also confused in his heart. "But Lao Mang, isn't this a river? There are mangroves along the river." The more Qianfang looked, the more he felt something was wrong. When they came yesterday, there was clearly a large mangrove forest on the right side of the road. Outside the mangrove forest was a river, connecting the inland sea where Beiman Bay is located with the sea outside. But today she saw endless green water on the right side of the road, with clusters of green leaves exposed in the blue water. The sun shone on the water, and she could vaguely see the shadows of trees swaying under the water. The further he drove, the less confident Meng Ping became. He also thought that he was pointing the wrong way. When he was considering whether to let Wu Zai go back, Qianfang had sharp eyes. She pointed to a sign in front and shouted, There, Lao Meng, look at that sign." Meng Ping also saw the sign with the word ocean written on it. Meng Ping breathed a sigh of relief. This is the right place. Entering from this path, there is a small village with 7 or 8 households. Outside the village, there is a small area near the seaside. Large tracts of land belong to them. Go to this small road. There is a sunbathing area inside where you can park, Meng Ping and Wu Zai said. Wu Zai turned the car in and drove for 5 or 6 minutes until he arrived at the drying place Meng Ping was talking about. There were 7 or 8 households around the drying place, scattered irregularly among the green trees. It looked like a paradise. When they parked the car, several people walked out of the house next to the drying yard and looked at them curiously. Meng Ping pointed to a sea lotus tree in front and said excitedly to Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan, "Did you see it? Behind this forest is my land, and outside is the sea. How about here?" Zhang Chen and Lu Ligan both said she was very beautiful. "Haha, it's even more beautiful when you go to the beach. It's simply stunning," Meng Ping shouted. The group of people walked along a path and passed through the sea lotus forest. Qianfang exclaimed, "Lao Meng, where is our land?" Meng Ping was also dumbfounded and shouted, "Yes, where is our land?" In front of them was the turquoise sea, and behind them was the sea lotus forest they had just passed through. There was no large piece of land anywhere.